Hello and good afternoon to you folks. How are you doing? Welcome to our conversations where we discuss issues that move you up and they move you forward. Always a good time for me to discuss with you these issues that we pick up. And hopefully today it's something that will add value to your lives. All right? My name is George. I'm a life and business coach, a Proctor Gallagher Institute consultant, a speaker and a facilitator at Vula and Law Consulting. Today is not the warmest day down here in Joburg. It's cold, so we're all decked up and trying to keep warm. But I'm sure the message that we will deliver today will make us all feel warm. Because it's coming from a place of love, as I said. So we are discussing our series, the I Love You series, where we talk about relationships and with others and with yourself. And we've talked about watering relationships. We talked about listening. Today we talk about uncomfortable discussions. So today's topic is embrace the uncomfortable to become comfortable. Embrace the uncomfortable to become comfortable. Okay. All right. So it's important really to start off with that issue around paradigms. We say that paradigms control or cause our habitual behavior. They control or cause our habitual behavior. So a paradigm is a multitude of habits. And a habit is an idea that is fixed in a person's subconscious mind that causes them to do something without any conscious thought. So you are doing something without consciously thinking about it. And as you know, the brain likes to wire things that way. That way it doesn't have to be thinking about everything that we do. Okay? And we say that the greater majority of your behavior is habitual and therefore controlled by your subconscious mind. At times we do things we do not want to do, get results we do not want, but do it anyway. Why? This is because the paradigm in the subconscious mind is controlling our actions and our behaviors, right? We know we shouldn't be eating cake, but we end up doing it anyway. But as the paradigm is changed, this is the important part, the behavior changes and the results change. So what this says is that we can change those habits we do not want, those results we do not want. And we do this by changing one habit at a time. Things that are wired within us, which we do not want, we can then consciously decide to change them. And when we do that, obviously we become the person that we want to be. But the key is that we must be willing to do so. We must be willing to change, to acknowledge that we don't want those habits, then act to weed them out from our system. It's a conscious decision we have to make. Remember, thoughts influence your feelings, right? Your emotions, your vibration. That is influenced by your thoughts. And then your thoughts, when they influence your feelings then lead you to act in a certain manner. They influence your actions, resulting in the results that you get. But it starts with the thought. So what is the thought that influences your feelings, your emotions? and then that influences your actions. It's important to remember this because as we discuss this, it's really the foundation of our topic. Uncomfortable discussions to get to be comfortable. Okay, so most of you are familiar with workplace appraisals, right? Beginning of the year, your financial year, you set goals. You and your boss, you sit, you agree. What are your goals? We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. Then there's an appraiser to see how did we perform through the year. Now, generally, come appraisal time, you see there's tension in the workplace. Because now we have to account for our behavior during the period. So I remember sitting with either my subordinates or my boss and tracking goals. But the one thing I learned is that rather than having the uncomfortable discussion at that one meeting, it's important to check in throughout the period. We know what goals we agreed on. We know what outcomes we're seeking. So it's just, hey, how are you doing? How are we tracking regarding that? Oh, everything is all right. Or, hey, I'm having a problem. Okay, deal with it. So by the time you actually have that discussion, it's no longer uncomfortable because you were checking in on it. But in some places, there's a culture of not dealing with these things and then waiting to deal with it on those appointed times. And guaranteed you're going to have problems. So learn to deal with uncomfortable discussions as you go along, because they happen. They are necessary, those discussions. So in the workplace, at home, in houses of worship, on the sports arena, in society in general, we will be faced with situations where we have to have honest, frank, and healthy discussions. That's going to happen. Get used to it so that it doesn't become uncomfortable. See, when discussions, as I said, at work appraisals are held in a spirit of care and love for the good of the business, there is unlikely to be conflict, right? Because remember, we are coming from a place of caring and love. And so when those discussions are held in that kind of spirit, then they don't become uncomfortable. Yes, they're hard discussions. Yes, we've got to track each other. But it's not uncomfortable because it's an expected process. And everyone is okay with that. Okay? Uncomfortable discussions. You know, way back, I once forgot the wife's birthday. Oh, that's way back. And I'd gone away on a long trip, came back, was just glad to be home. Well, didn't do what I needed to do. And of course, I'm sure, hands up, you guys can tell me what happened. But then I was young and I tried to explain, I'd been on a trip, but if you're now listening to me now, take my advice on this one. Don't even argue about it. Don't even try and justify it. Just jump into the car or whatever, rush to the florist, buy a bunch of red roses, and bring them home. And they'll probably be thrown in your face, but bring them home anyway. And apologize. But what that incident did for me was it got me to have my own uncomfortable discussions. And which were basically simply this. in a year, there's probably 2 or 3 very important dates. There's the birthday, there's the anniversary, and probably Mother's Day or Father's Day, depending on who you are. There will be others, but those are the critical dates. And there are 3 out of 365 days. So surely there's no way you can equate that and say, oh, I forgot. There's 3 days out of 365. So I realized, okay, there's no way you can forget this, and there's never any justification for it. So if you're listening to me, I then devised my own plan. I mean, we have all these cell phones now that they do all these fancy things. So you really have no excuse now with technology the way it is. But I didn't use technology. I actually used my daughter, and I just tell her 3 weeks or a month before date, and once I'm done, she takes care of everything. You may want to borrow that from me, but it got me to have my own discussion about the values of some of those things. They're critical. It's important to do that. See, because remember what I said, when you're having these discussions, you are coming from a place of love, caring and love. That's actually why you're having them. So learn to have these discussions. Learn to have these discussions. Don't bury kind of controversial issues or hard issues. Don't bury them under and hope they will go away. They won't. They just fester. And when they eventually come up, they are worse than had you dealt with them then. Have the uncomfortable discussion. Deal with it and get it out of the way. Once you do that, you will find you're going to have a very healthy relationship, whether in the workplace or at home. So some uncomfortable discussions are more uncomfortable than others. And yes, we would rather not have them, but have them we should, because they make us grow and they make relationships stronger. They definitely make you grow and they make your relationships stronger. So that way you avoid, bust-ups and tantrums, etc., etc., because now you got a handle of this thing. Okay, so if it is a business partnership, for instance, learn to openly discuss the values in the venture. It's okay when things are going smooth, but when things are going bad, learn to discuss that. That's really critical. Business is not doing well. Why? Analyze this together and face the situation jointly. Talk about it. Does the venture need external help? Is the strategy working? Are we deploying resources correctly? And the more you do this, the stronger your business partnership becomes and the healthier it becomes. There is no hide and seek, as it were. Everything is on the table. We're doing great. These are the reasons why we're doing great. It's not happening. Why? And I always recommend to guys, kind of have a weekly meeting, whether it's every Monday or whatever day. Spend an hour, spend 2 hours, key issues, what's happening, where are we going, where are the bottlenecks, how should we deal with them, who do we need to work with. If you do that consistently, no one gets taken by surprise. They're uncomfortable, yes, but if you are uncomfortable with them and not deal with them, when you have to deal with them, now you're going to be even more uncomfortable. So deal with them. One of the big issues right now that's happening is the discussion and the anger around the death of George Floyd at the hands of the police in the US. It sparked discussion around the world. And it's the time for all of us to introspect and openly discuss the subject. I was talking to a white colleague, and I said, this is the time to do 2 things. One, to look inside of yourself and actually say, what are my views? What sits in my subconscious mind that I'm uncomfortable with? Is there something in there that needs to be dealt with? Then deal with it. Be open about it. And secondly, reach out to colleagues like me and hear the views and look and understand how I look at the world. See the lens with which I see the world. Because that will help you to have your own uncomfortable discussions. I gave him an example of a pastor in the US, a white pastor whose daughter married a black man. And he had to have his own uncomfortable discussions with himself about how he felt about this relationship. And he found things that he didn't like, but worked at getting rid of them. But you have to have the uncomfortable discussions. You have to. The other time a colleague comes to me, a white colleague, and says, we were at a braai, a barbecue, and some guys were beginning to say some very racially degrading stuff. And I walked away. And I said, good for you, Matt, but you should have gone a bit and told the guys that this is wrong. Because that's your views. But it's uncomfortable discussions that we have to have. They help us grow. They make us stronger. Now you understand where you are. If there's something in there that's, talk it through. See a coach, see a mentor, work it through, get it out of your system. But there's a conversations that must be had. You can't bury them under the carpet. No, because they sit in our subconscious mind. As I say, your behavior is largely controlled by a subconscious mind. So your default setting is in there in the subconscious mind. And therefore, the only way to deal with it is to remove it out from the subconscious mind so that you are comfortable. And this applies to, and as I said to you, there are many, many good people out there. Sure, there are some evil people out there, but some great people out there who would rather this didn't happen. But the reality is that it will continue to happen. So rather than wish it won't happen, look at it, deal with the aspects that are uncomfortable, and then become comfortable. All right. So why am I saying that? Because you are coming from a place of love and care. So you're helping yourself grow, but you love yourself enough to be open with yourself. And you love your neighbor, your friends enough to be open with them. And what's in your subconscious mind, you didn't choose to put it in there. Most of it is from where you were a baby. But let it go now and be that new person that you want to be. Seek to understand, because ignorance leads to everything a person does not want, while knowledge puts you on the path that we all want to follow. And knowledge can only be acquired by looking for it, talking to people, seeing how people see the world, and that's how it is. See, uncomfortable conversations about issues relating to ethnicity, that's a big one. And when these are not dealt with, they will inevitably flare up at some point. What are your views about other ethnic groups? Do you embrace them as people just like you? Do you hold prejudices? Well, reach out across to the so-called divide, across the so-called divide, and you will realize they're just as human as you. It's a very sore subject. Not many people want to address it. Not many people want to talk about it. But it's real. Address it. It will be uncomfortable, deal with it, But when you have dealt with it, you will become comfortable. So embrace that discomfort. Embrace being uncomfortable so that you become comfortable. I remember, as I said, you're coming out from a place of love. And therefore, you have a license to clear all those things so that you are the loving and caring person that you always want to be. Let go of the past. If all those things are sitting in your subconscious mind because of the past, well, let it go and become the new person that you want to be. It's very important. Very important. So I love sport. Love sport. And in sport, you get these so-called macho types. The real, hey, I'm the man, I'm the man. And all too often, you hear then comments that discriminate or discredit the women, gender issues. And some people are so, one guy will say, oh, I would never be subordinate to a woman. And we're in 2020. And what do you do in that case? Well, you must stand up and say, well, really, that's not a view to hold now in 2020. You actually need help, my friend. You need help. You need to have conversations with yourself to say, why do I hold those views, which are archaic? Why do I hold these views? Understand where they come from and then weed them out so that you become comfortable. But it's an uncomfortable conversation. And if you go into a marriage with that uncomfortable view, it's never going to fly. You're always going to have problems because you have a prejudice that's sitting in their subconscious and you know about it. Get rid of it. Get rid of it, my brother. Because those views belong to some, I don't know how far back we go, but they don't have no place right now. And so don't hold them. Be honest enough with yourself to look in the mirror, be uncomfortable with saying, listen, I don't know why I do this. But that's the paradigm. Remember what we said? It's a multitude of habits. These habits were impressed into your subconscious by those people who looked after you, your parents, your peers, your friends, your caregivers, the TV, the radio. All those things influenced how your subconscious mind, those views sit in your subconscious mind. Now is the time to get rid of them. You know they sit there, get rid of them. Understand that you're coming from a place of love, a place of caring. And therefore, when you achieve that, you'll be happier with yourself. You become a new person who sees the world, right, from a place of love and care. And therefore, a place where everybody is looked at and weighed on the merits of who and what they are. That's what you want to be. Don't go around with prejudices and all these things that that affect your subconscious mind. No. Move on and be the person that you've always wanted to be. But you've got to work at it. It's your thoughts, like we said, that influence the feelings, your love, your caring, etc. Those feelings, those emotions, they're influenced by your thoughts. What thoughts are you holding? Resulting in the actions. Oh, I'm macho. I can't be subordinate to those actions because you're holding the wrong thoughts. Sort out the thoughts, and that won't happen. Uncomfortable discussions. But when you master that, when you do it well, you'll be very comfortable with any of the other discussions that you will have. Why? Why did we say that? Because we want you to understand, seek to understand. Because ignorance leads to everything a person does not want. While knowledge puts you on the path that we are all meant to follow. And that is the path of understanding. That is the path of knowledge, the path of honesty and understanding. That path comes from working at it. As Nelson Mandela says, no one is born to hate anybody or to discriminate against anybody. But we acquire this on our journey, and we can get rid of them. It's baggage that we can throw off and become the person that we've always wanted to be. All right. Remember, as I say, we're coming from a place of love. Your thoughts. Guard your thoughts. Guard your thoughts. Because they influence your feelings. And when they influence your feelings, they influence your actions, and your actions lead to results. All right. This is George. Remember, this week I said I would be asking you about this thing. Why don't you post your wins? Share with us your wins. Share with us what you're grateful for. Just drop me a note on FaceTime, on WhatsApp. Hey, I'm grateful for this. That's great. We really like to hear you share about that. Your aha moments. What struck you? What are the things that hit you this week, as we discussed? And as we're talking about paradigms, and paradigms can affect your attitudes, your habits. So why don't you connect with us? We're quite happy to work with you to get you unstuck and be the person that you've always wanted to be. And one more thing, share what you want to manifest in life. What do you want to be? Is it money? Is it happy relationships? What do you want? Is it better health? Share with us. We'll be glad to chat with you, to communicate with you. All right. Okay, folks. I'm George, and like this video, share with friends, and visit our YouTube page and our website. And as always, stay positive. Stay positive. It's good medicine for success. All right, folks. Thank you very much for watching. And we got one more this week. We're talking tomorrow. And thank you very much. We're looking forward to that. Bye-bye now.